It's Thursday, and you know what that means. Another buck from the past, old long toes. Hope you enjoy it.
This is the buck we're after. You can see the size of the track. He's just trotting down the road here. What an exceptional deer. Big square hoof. Pete just got a look at him yesterday, so he's got real long main beams. Looking forward to meeting up with this guy.
When we checked him in, he weighed 209, and he hung for a week. And then we got him back here, and I put him on my certified scale, and he weighed 223. So, I don't know, kind of in question just what he weighed, I guess, but he was definitely over 200. Had a really cool hole in his main beam there, and probably it looked like a 6 or 7 year old buck. He was a beauty, definitely prime age. We had just a dust in the snow that morning, and Pete and I were driving down the road, and we took a fork in the road, drove out probably 3/4 of a mile past the fork, and a good sized buck and a doe came across the road, nice big track. So Pete jumped out and took off after him. Then I drove back and went back down in the other direction, and it's probably 3/4 of a mile across here, and headed up another road and got to a dead end and a landing, and a real nice buck had crossed right here too. So Pete started in on his buck, and he was probably 1.5 miles from me, and I started long down through here, and my buck headed down through, just kind of cruising, looking for does, checking tracks, and he crossed the main road and went down into this chunk of woods. And then there's another buck and another doe going round and round, and we're thinking we really kind of hit the mother lode here because we got lots of big buck tracks all over the place. But it was actually Pete's buck, and Pete came right down into my section of woods, and just before he got to me, I told him, I said, well, there's been 2 buck in here, and they've been circling each other all night long in about this 300-yard section of hardwoods, and they're threat walking each other. And I told Pete, I said, I'm going to swing around this side and look for them leaving, because there's just millions of tracks everywhere. And the wind was blowing this way, and Pete came down, and I saw him, and I told him, well, why don't you swing that side? We're just 200-300 yards apart, and I could see him down in the woods. So on the radio, I told him, you swing around that side, I'll swing around this side. And of course we did, and we started swinging, and we made our way around. And then Pete says, oh, I've got them right here, and they're leaving. So I got around to him, and sure enough, the buck and a doe had been leaving, and I found a set of tracks going out this way. So I said, well, since I've gone that far, I might as well finish the circle. So I finished the circle, and sure enough, that's definitely an exit track, and I'm pretty sure that this is my buck. When he got to the road, he went up the road just a little bit and then turned in, and I got a real good look at his track. And mine had a really big long toes, and then Pete's was just a big huge square track. So Pete stuck with his deer, and the 2 deer had been in a fight right here, and there was hair and blood and tracks and stuff all over the place. And my deer, long toes, who went out this way, he was the loser, and Pete stuck with the bigger one who had the doe and went out in that direction. So we've wasted a lot of time during the day, but we're working our way up through, and my buck finally heads towards this intersection, and I have to leave him, and it's dark. So the following morning, we drive back down, and I park right here, and I go right back in on my buck again. I don't follow him just a little ways, and he comes back down through the woods this way fresh. He walks right into the center here, and I'm walking and grunting, and he's in a nice like select cut, and I'm walking and grunting, and he can really hear me. It's sunny and beautiful and crunchy. He gets up, does a little bit of feeding, and he's standing there, and he lets me walk about 50 yards from him, just grunting right up to his bed, and he just stands there looking at me. And as soon as I got to the bed and I saw that he got up and walked away, I started looking, and then I looked up on the bank, and there he was standing there looking at me. And I could see the size of him, and I said, oh, look at that thing. But that walking and grunting, and it was real crusty, crunchy, only like 1/4 of an inch of snow, real frozen. It was tough tracking, but he literally watched me walk all the way across over to here because I was grunting and going. I think he just stood there and let me walk right up to him. And I stood here, and I looked out into the slash, and he was standing there looking at me. Just what a memorable hunt, but it goes to show even this one was just grunting and walking, and it worked out good.
I've been tracking old long toes. You guys are probably wondering where I am. because I haven't radioed you back. But I've been tracking long toes, and I came to a bed, and he got up, and he started walking away from me a little bit. And I saw him up on this hillside, and so I pulled the trigger, and I shot, and he fell down, and he was flopping all over the place. And he finally calmed down enough, so he had his front end still up a little bit, but he just dropped. So as he kind of half stood up, I got another shot into him, and he fell right over. And I've been looking for him for 15 minutes now, trying to find him, because I went right to the spot, but I went by it a little ways. So I went all the way back to where I shot, and I hung up 2 ribbons, and I lined up a little bit, and there he is. Definitely one of the biggest bucks in my life. What a giant. I just found him. So happy to see him laying there. What a beautiful buck. Oh my God, what a beautiful deer. Look at that. I can't believe what the good Lord has blessed me with. Look at that buck. Holy smokes, what a nice deer. I don't know what to say. I want to make my peace with him now. Okay, let's see if we can get him up here where we can see him a little better. Put our tag on him. Oh, he's going to hurt. I would say he's one of the biggest deer I've ever shot. He's up there pretty good. He's a nice heavy one. Nice mature deer. Yep, he's a pretty one. And he does have them long toes. That's him, alright. I followed the track back up the hill, and it was the same one I've been following. Yep. Clean him up and get some of the blood off him here. Better radio the fellas. What a pretty buck.
Go down from where you saw where I come out yesterday. Cross to a little brook right there. You'll go through a little meadow and you'll come right onto a road. You'll go for, I don't know if the guy's truck's there or not. Do an opening up right down.
Well, could you see Horn?
All I saw was the spikes. I could see a deer standing there that's got spikes, and then I leaned down a little bit, so well, it's more than spikes.
That's a horse. That's huge.
How are you?
Yeah.
Right here.
31.
There you
Yeah.
Close to the top of that hole.
That ain't 240. That ain't a penny.
That's a big deer.
Boy, you're gonna have a lot of trouble dragging it up by yourself.
That's okay, I'll manage. You may want to watch.
Yeah, that'll be a show.
Oh, this is hell right here.
It ain't just off this. Ain't
Oh,
bad.
just down
Opens
below.
right up.
Yeah. Yeah.
This knob rolls right off. I was right there this morning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The sun was coming up.
Yeah.
I said, well,
He came from over in there and bedded right
I said
here.
I'll walk with the sun to my back.
Yeah.
So I started working off that way, and well, I
Yep.
met Lewis on top of the next ridge over.
Yeah.
So we heard you shoot.
Yeah. Yeah. Turn that down a little bit. Yep. Unreal.
Nice.
Unreal.